Musical influences. Me and Michael have been writing quite a bit over the past year or so, and I'm truly just sucked in by Bad Flower. I just want to be Josh Katz. I want to be him in all aspects of performance. So I would say they're a huge influence to me. There's a rock band, but the sounds and the tones and just how they write lyrically, huge. Lyrically, I really pull from them because they're not afraid to say whatever they want. John Mayer too. I really do like his guitar tone is undeniable. You hear it and you know it's him, so that's really cool. As far as that goes, I always apparently like to write in minor keys. I'm just bass line sad person, but not really. So it's just anything dark, but sexy and like I said earlier, just psychedelic. I just like wonky sounds that kind of just take you into this wide open space. It's I just want to take somebody there.
I'm heavily inspired by the works of Tuomas Holopainen, the composer and keyboardist of Nightwish. Kevin Moore, he used to be the keyboardist in Dream Theater. He is the composer and solo artist in Chroma Key. He's an ambient artist. I love his work. Really sad stuff, but really effective stuff. I really love Jacob Collier in the jazz world. I love Glenn Miller for his musical sense of harmony. And I'm really inspired by movie soundtracks, specifically from the 1930s. Herbert Stothart's arranging in the Wizard of Oz soundtrack is, as good as music can probably get. So those are my musical influences.
People around me are usually my biggest musical influences. They say you're an amalgamation of the closest 5 people in your life, so musically, whoever I'm around at that time, I end up kind of absorbing their musicality, and so, yeah.
I grew up listening to classic rock on KLOS, and my first album was Van Halen 1 on a cassette tape, so that was most of my childhood, and then I branched off into classical blues, old school rap, Run DMC and stuff like that, and a little bit of everything. Motown's awesome.
My musical influences are first and foremost The Edge of U2. Just his delay guitar sounds just really inspired me to play, and I would literally just set up in the living room, put on the U2 concert DVDs and pause and zoom in at his freaking fingers just to be what the hell is he playing? And then that's how I learned to play guitar. And then from there, I just started picking up on all the guitar masters or whatever, Slash, Santana, Eric Clapton. Dire Straits is actually kind of a big group that I really liked. Mark Knopfler, John Mayer is a big one. Yeah, there's just really a lot, but probably the biggest one that you hear in my playing is The Edge from U2. Yeah.
I think my first concert was either Fall Out Boy or Yes. I think that was my first concert, actually. That must have been back in 2000. Oh no. Fall Out Boy was my first concert. One of my favorite concerts I ever saw, there's a couple, but the first one that comes to mind was back in 2018. My favorite band, Nightwish, did their Decades tour, where they were playing songs from their entire discography, which they never do. So I heard some of the songs that they haven't played since 1997, and they're my top favorite all-time band, so hearing some of their old work live was just, that warmed my heart so much.
My first concert, I was very spoiled with my first concerts. It was a doubleheader weekend. We went to Vegas to see U2, and then we came right back to see them at the Rose Bowl the next day. The Rose Bowl concert ended up being on the DVD. Whoop. So that's always fun seeing the DVD and be I was right there. And it is hard to top that. A concert that I get to go to a lot is Trans-Siberian Orchestra at Christmas time. That's so fun. Probably my favorite is probably Muse. They put on a hell of a show, and I just remember one thing at that concert. They started a song, and I started going nuts, and no one around me knew what was happening. And because I knew, it was a weird moment where I felt like I was their only fan for that second, and It was a very interesting moment.
My first concert was a band called Toast Machine, who were big in a California town called Petaluma. At the Phoenix Theater, they were just a drum and bass duo. Super rock and roll. Very, very good band. My favorite concert was probably the first real big concert that I went to, which was at the Hollywood Bowl, and that was Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I cried. It was great.
First one I went to, first real one anyway, was Chicken Foot, which was one of Sammy Hagar's bands. Which that's a lot of fun. That guy knows how to put on a show. That's with Joe Satriani, the guitarist, and that was real cool. Probably my favorite one was seeing Van Halen live before he died, though.
I think one of my proudest creations with the band so far is our song Shadows in the Moonlight. It's the opening track on our album. It's really interesting sonically, has a nice arrangement, has a nice duality between happiness and sadness, and it's a really personal song to me. It's about some pretty close people.
Faceless Dreams is probably the most fun to play. Everything about it feels right. All the instruments it's like a sort of like a wall of sound type of thing. Everything's playing at each other, and everything comes together and sounds right.
My favorite song off the album probably is The Bee's Knees. I really like that one. I think it's just like the personality of my voice. My voice is more suited to jazz rather than rock, but I can do both. So I think Bee's Knees kind of brings those two worlds together in a fantastic way. Just the personality of that song is really, I don't know, I just really like it. Michael truly did a really good job on arranging that. And I got to be a part of the lyrics a little bit, and so it's sentimental.
Some of my favorite songs off the record, one would have to be Faceless Dreams. That's probably the one that's probably most in tune with like my style of music, like my personal style, specifically like the guitar effects that I use in it, and then just kind of the punk rock nature of the guitars in the chorus. Just really kind of comes from where I grew up with music. It's a very intense and dynamic song that just really I feel and resonates with me in a really cool way. Another song that I just cannot help but love is Wrong Turn. Just the chorus of that song, just the way that fucking hits, just is, you can't help but just like feel it. Yeah, it just gets me pumped every time I hear it.
I would say probably Kingdom of Fear. Kingdom of Fear, which is the last track on the new album. It's the longest track, and that was... I've loved bands like Dream Theater and Symphony X, like these really epic prog rock bands, and I always thought, man, what if they had like this badass chick singer? That would be fantastic, and now I get to play in that band. So, and that song was the first song that I heard it, and I was like, wow, I really get to do this. So.
I don't know, when you get one of those like plasticky sheets of paper and shake it around and it goes wobble, 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 that's a fun one.
Like maybe like birds chirping in like the open woods. That's the vibe.
People's voices? I don't know. I feel like, yeah, you listen to people's voices, and that reminds you, you're not alone in the world. So yeah, days where you just don't hear other people's voices. Those are weird days, especially if you're just talking to yourself the whole day, which I do often.
This is more like family oriented, but when my dad, I have two other sisters, so he has 3 girls, and every time he answers the phone, he has like a greeting for all of us, and so mine's like, hi Emmy, hi Emmy, and so like every time I hear that, it's very heartwarming. I would say maybe that. I don't know, musically, like I like psychedelic sounds, like kind of that transport you to just a different world, really, like, I don't know, very psychedelic. That's all I can say. I'm not sure.
My favorite sound is probably the sound of my daughter's snoring. It is the most petite, most adorable little just snore that you've ever heard, and she's just so peaceful, and it's just the most wonderful thing, and I can't describe it. It's just amazing.